Mila Kunis says tabloid gossip causes stress on her family and nobody will understand. Mila Kunis is getting real about the downside of fame. In Cosmopolitan's August issue, the 34-year-old actress talks to her "The Spy Who Dumped Me" co-star Kate McKinnon about constantly being in the spotlight, and how it affects husband Ashton Kutcher, kids 3-year-old Wyatt Isabelle and 1-year-old Dimitri Portwood, and the rest of their family. "I don't read anything about myself. I genuinely don't know what's written about me. Other than I know that I'm pregnant about once a year and my husband and I are getting a divorce once a year," she said. "I know this because I go down the grocery store aisle, and I see it on the cover of magazines and I'm like, oh boy, okay." Kunis continued, "The only thing that's upsetting is my parents and my grandparents sometimes get confused. At one point when I was pregnant, the tabloids said that I had an emergency and was rushed to the hospital, and my face was on the cover. The amount of stress that caused my family, nobody will understand. Although my dad is always very hopeful that the pregnancies are true. He's always like, is there really another?" View photos. Mila Kunis, the star, also shies away from social media, joking that she was one of the late adapters. "I was so late to that train. I remember at some point my roommate was like, you know, there's a thing called Facebook, and I was like, what is this Facebook? Who's gonna poke each other? That's just weird," she explained. However, her husband was a fan at first. "And then Ashton and I reconnected and started talking," she recalled. "He used to be incredibly forward-thinking with social media, when the intent was to connect to people. But it took an ugly turn and became all about who can be the loudest, who can be the angriest and the most negative. Then it's just not a fun game to play." Kunis, who, along with Kutcher, typically do not publicly share photos of their 2 children, told the Daily Telegraph in 2016 about keeping some parts of her life out of the spotlight. "What I do and who I am are 2 different things and, to me, it was always really important to keep those things separate," she said. "I don't want people thinking they know me to the point where they feel comfortable coming in my house without being invited. For security reasons, being on social media just wasn't worth it. I'd rather have my privacy." View photos. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Kunis is already a household name through her acting credits, but she told Cosmopolitan that she's been thinking about upping the ante even more. "I just sat down 3 days ago to write out my dream in 5 years. And I realized very quickly that I didn't dream big enough," she said. "And so I've been thinking about it for the past few days, like, what is my grand F-ing dream for myself? The answer is simple: I just want to be happy. I know that sounds incredibly lame, but I never want to stop learning or being challenged, and I never want to stop challenging my partner. I think that those things will always lead to some form of success."